Hey, how's it going? Today we're going to talk about time freedom, which is, I think, everybody's goal here is to be able to do what we want, when we want to do it, and with whoever we want. And we're going to talk about the one thing that you really need before we start to look at time freedom. I was doing a little bit of research for this video, and I found this really great article from Lucemi Consulting, and I'm just going to read this to you here from my notes. Having freedom of time means being totally clear on what you want to do with your time to create a bigger and better future for yourself. And I love that. Like, I get to choose how I invest my time to create a bigger and better future for myself. And so if I want that, how do I get it, right? How do I do that? And one of the big caveats is we can't have time freedom if we're worried about our finances. And this shows up in all different areas, right? If I want time freedom to go visit my friend in a different state, I would need to have the money in order to do that, right? If I want to be totally clear that what I want to do to create a better future is spend more time with my friends, from when I was younger, like college and that, like the people that live across the country, then I need to be able to do that, right? If I want to spend my time on a beach in Mexico, I need to be able to have finances to do that. If what I want to be able to do is play hockey, I need to obviously play hockey, but I also need to be able to have enough income to invest in, right, keeping my body healthy as I get older. I need to not have work on Saturday mornings or need to work, right, in order to get that money to pay for my house. Right, all of those things are linked to our finances. And so I think that's just something really, really important to remember, that we can't have time freedom without having this financial thing handled. And so let's talk a little bit about, if we're looking at that, what is time freedom not and what is it? So let's see here. Okay, so here is not what time freedom is. Time freedom is not blowing off commitments, right? I have a lot. I hear from a lot of people who are like, oh, I didn't work because I ended up doing this thing. And I'm looking at time freedom in the course of like work, right? But blowing off your commitments is not time freedom, that's immaturity, right? If you're going to be somewhere, if you say you're going to do something, do it. That's what mature business owners and adults do. Time freedom is not being a slave to impulse, right? Getting distracted and calling it time freedom, that's just a lie. Being a slave to anything is not freedom. If we are like every single thing, we're like, I want to do that instead of my responsibilities. It doesn't mean we don't work. Time freedom is not a world void of work. It just means we're working on meaningful things that are important to us, and we're building a better life for our future, right? And it is not the push escape model that a lot of network marketers or entrepreneurs do, where they work really, 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 really hard for a time period, and then they get so physically, emotionally exhausted, like they just toast their adrenals, and then they have to escape, right, and go like into what seems like a cave and heal, right? And so that's not what we're talking about. Here's what it does mean. It means the work we do is productive. And what I mean by productive is time creates results, right? That's what productivity is. It's not time, it's not doing more, it's the time creates results. Speaking of results, time freedom means you're judged by results, not hours clocked. So it doesn't matter how many minutes or hours I spend here at my desk doing my coaching business. What matters is what are the results. So if I have a one-on-one client and we can get right to it and give them a plan in 20 minutes, isn't that more time freedom than if I have to sit with them for exactly 1 hour? That's what we're trying to do. And with time freedom, we have flexibility, but we don't have lack of responsibility. And I really think that it operates on a spectrum, right? So we have complete time freedom. So we're just we start here, right? And then we really have a lot of choice here. And the harder we work, here's the mind-blowing moment for you, is time freedom is earned, not granted. When you say, I am an independent business owner. For you guys, I am a distributor of such and such company. I have time freedom. And for me, I own my own coaching business. I have time freedom. So I might be here, right, with my time freedom when I start. Now, I've been through some hard times in my coaching business. And so for me, there have been times where my time freedom, right, has moved the opposite direction, where I'm like, oh, shoot, in order to get the results that we need, I am going to have to work every Saturday. Hockey is not an answer, but so it looks like it's not time freedom, but actually it might be time freedom, because having freedom of time, I'm going to review these notes, means being totally clear about what you want to do with your time to create a bigger and better future for yourself. And so I had the time freedom to work extra, to do more travel in order to, create a better future for myself, which I believe we've been able to do. So what's the one thing that we need? It's not super sexy, by the way. The one thing that we need is effective processes. I know. Hang with me, because I think this will really help you to give clarity. I know we're all looking for silver bullets. I know we're looking for that one sexy thing that we never knew. But I promise this is going to be really, really helpful for you. So let me go ahead and illustrate how we get time freedom, because we have an effective process. If we do not have effective processes, we do not have time freedom, and we never will have time freedom. So let's say we have 10 sales conversations. And it can be over whatever time period, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, whatever. If our sales processes are not effective, we get 1 sale. If they are effective, right, we get 6 sales. So if we think back to what is time freedom is allowing choices, right? It's results, not hours punched in, right? In a corporate world, we look at 10 sales conversations, you did your job, you worked for 10 hours, good job. But if you made 1 sale, right, you get paid the same no matter what. But in business, we have time freedom because our results can outweigh, right, whatever hours that we put in. And if we think about 1 customer versus 6 customers, right, it's going to take 1 year to get a builder that's any decent, because we don't have very much momentum. Your sales process is ineffective. They're all going to quit. But if you get 6 sales from 10 sales conversations in that same 1 year, gosh, we could probably, I wouldn't even say 6, I would say 6 to 10 builders within that same year, because of the momentum. If you have an effective sales process, business builders are going to see, oh, this is effective and this is enjoyable. I'm more likely to say yes. I'm more likely to stick around. If you have an ineffective sales process, then you're going to have less people decide, hey, this is something I might want to do. A lot of people will say, Tasha, I have a recruiting problem. And what I'm going to ask is, do we have a recruiting problem or do we have a sales problem? Because if your sales process stinks, who would want to do it? Now, which processes you need kind of depend on what stage of the business you're in. So what we do is we break down the people that we work with in their business. What works for one size of team is not going to work for a different size of team. So we have 3 different stages of team growth. So we just call it, we have grow, expand, and we have multiply. Let's draw a little chart here. I'm going to erase a little bit of this. Put this here so you don't forget. All right. So if we're grow, we have 0 to 5 active team members. Expand, we're doing 5 to 16. We might make that a little bit higher. Active team member. So an active team member is someone who they like brought in a customer or a builder last month. And then here, 16 and up active team members. So we're really looking at, oh, we might move those up a little bit. This might be like 5 to 25, I don't know. All right, so we're basically looking at tiny teams, right? Medium, mid-sized teams, and large teams, depending on how it all shakes out. So what are the effective processes that you need to work on based on which stage you're in? So if you have a tiny team, we're looking at effective sales and recruiting conversations, right? Do they convert? In the expand stage, we're looking at effective mentoring that creates action and builder events. And these are just some examples of processes that you would need to have. So you can see if you have a medium-sized team, just like only having a good sales and recruiting conversation is not going to get you into the next stage. And in the multiply stage, we really want to get good, for example, at marketing events or speeches and trainings, right? Because if I have a large team and I could have 10 people at the event, right? But if I get really good at marketing, maybe I have 30 people at the event. If I have dialed in my builder events or dialed in my effective mentoring in the previous stage, then those 30 people are going to sell way more than the 10 people. And if I hadn't checked everything off on the expand stage. Now, to be fair, this is like a foundation. So if you are in the expand stage, but your sales and recruiting conversation doesn't work all that well, I would definitely go back and just like tighten all the bolts so that the wheels don't come off your car when you start driving really, really fast. But these are the effective processes that you want to focus on, that you want to look at. And I think it's just worth, taking a second and saying, okay, based on whatever stage that I'm in right now, which is the one, where do I need to get more effective? So I can, the more people I put in there, the more my team grows. Now, if you want to fast track your effective processes, if you don't want to start from scratch, if you don't want to attend hundreds and hundreds of 20-minute best practice sharing things across the industry, if you want to take a system that's already built and then customize it for your personality, for your company, for your team, so that you can accelerate your results and you don't have to start from scratch, let us know. That's what we do all day, in addition to making cool videos like this that help you explain how things really are instead of maybe what you want to hear or like, the latest shiny object. That's all we do all day is we help people to get from one stage to the next and to get mastery and to be clear on their purpose and to get the time freedom and the financial freedom that they are going for. And I do know that is different for everybody else. It might not mean traveling all the time. It might not mean big fancy houses. I know that time freedom means different things to everybody, and we want to be here to support you with that, because if we've made it for one person, certainly it would be helpful for a lot. So let me know if that is something that would be helpful, and we can make sure we get you the details. I hope this video has been enlightening for you. Maybe it's a bit convicting, but I am guessing that it was probably a lot of things you were kind of thinking already, and it was more validating more than anything. So I hope you have an amazing day, and we'll talk soon.